Hey everybody, welcome to another amazing opportunity. My name is Jay Stark, and I am super happy to be able to introduce to you the Renatus InvestEdge. For those of you that are here for the very first time, I want to extend a very special welcome. If you are interested in getting the most up-to-date information on strategies that are making money in the real estate market today, then you are in the right place. And I want to encourage you to like, save, share, subscribe, all those fun things that you can do on YouTube to make sure that you stay up to date with everything that is going on our channel, as we are truly committed to only delivering to you actionable education that is going to benefit you in today's market, today's landscape. We aren't producing old content. We aren't regurgitating old things. Instead, we're bringing to you practitioners, individuals who are out there in the market today making money, and they're sharing their tips, tricks, and secrets. Now, with no further ado, I want to introduce to you the CEO, the visionary of Renatus, the individual who is truly the mastermind behind everything that we put into play in Renatus today. He's an individual that I've had the opportunity of working for 14 years now. This month is our 14th year anniversary, and it's truly been my honor and privilege. I've gotten to be able to see him as he has directed and led the company for those 14 years, and I can truly say that he weighs every decision, every opportunity we have against how it's going to affect our customer first. He is more concerned about providing, over-delivering, and under-promising continually so that our people have the very best opportunity to succeed in today's landscape. And you're going to see that on the call today. So join me in welcoming out our host for the remainder of the call, Mr. Bob Snyder.
Hey, man, thank you, Jay. I'm so thrilled to be here. This is exciting. Another episode of Renatus InvestEdge, where I really, designed this with the intent of making sure that you, the viewers at home, get what you came for, so that you can get ideas on how that you can capitalize on opportunities in the real estate market today, how you can really go out there and utilize multiple strategies, sometimes combining those for a nice win-win situation that's going to give you the invest edge in the marketplace. And today we've got one of our favorite instructors, an individual that inside of the Renatus community, this guy is a superstar, because of what he's accomplished and because of who he is and his desire to give back on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, I have now known Chris Albin, I'm trying to go back. It's probably been 20 plus years. 20 years. He's an individual at times. He has owned so many single family residents inside of the areas that he really focuses on, that, he owns 10% of zip codes. 10% of different city municipalities. So he's been a huge success. He's done great. He's done fantastic things. His real estate portfolio fluctuates up and down, but the one thing about it is that his knowledge just continues to gain clarity and understanding. He's going to impart some wisdoms to you today that you're going to absolutely love, because he dives deep into creative real estate and helping individuals go out there and find deals that nobody else knows exist. So we're thrilled to have Chris with us, because Chris is a big part of the Renatus community. He's one of our instructors, and now you get a feel for just why people love him so much. So Mr. Chris Albin, I'm going to invite you out here on the call. I can't wait for folks to get acquainted with you, buddy.
Well, thanks, Bob. This is awesome. I love the idea that you are always expanding. You're always adjusting and always trying to reach more people with the power of investment, which gives people freedom. We don't try to get rich because we like money. We get rich so that we can affect our lives in a positive way. And rich is not always measurable by money, but it's measurable by the ways that we impact the world. So you have impacted the world, you've impacted me, you've impacted a lot of people. So I thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. One of the things that we're going to do today is I want to focus on the generation of leads. That's really what I'm interested in today. How do I kind of chunk down all this stuff that I teach and talk about in something that's so condensed? And so what I'm going to do is focus on solving challenges in order to find leads. And so that's where we're going to go today. So I'm going to share my screen if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, and we've got to be able to do this here. All right.
We can see your screen.
I hope you can see it. All right, so the question that we're looking at today is, what is the challenge? And identifying challenges is what finds good deals in a crowded market. So there's really only three things that sell real estate, and it's not location, location, location. I know what everybody's heard out there. The things that sell real estate are really the price, condition, and its marketing. Location is one aspect of its condition. So it's, whether it's a ranch style or a bungalow, whether it's in disrepair or in pristine condition, whether it has 3 bedrooms or 13 bedrooms, all of that's condition. So a good real estate professional can assign a price, or at least a price range, relative to the condition. It's priced correctly for its condition, it will sell efficiently in a market. So in Podunk, North Dakota, it might take longer to sell because there are fewer people in that market, therefore the market is less efficient. But in a large market, and a market with a number of buyers and sellers at any given time, the efficiency is sufficient to where it should sell very quickly within a week or so. It should go pending within a week or so if it is priced correctly for its condition. So I've said that 3 things sell real estate, and I've talked a lot about price and condition. But the reality is it will sell quickly if it's priced right for its condition, unless nobody knows it's for sale. If nobody knows it's for sale, if it's not for the marketing, it won't sell. So what we have to do as real estate investors, we need to insert ourselves before the seller decides to market the property or decides how they're going to market the property. The seller really only has 4 choices on how to sell this property. Now, there's a lot of different flavors in those 4 choices. They can go with a real estate professional, they can go with an auctioneer, they can market themselves, or they can sell to an investor.
Hey, Chris, before you go too much further, I know you're probably thinking you're clicking through slides, but all we see is what's the challenge on the screen. I would love if you could get it into presenter mode, because we want to be able to follow along with you.
I have been clicking through slides. So how do I get in here?
I figured as much.
That makes a lot of sense. I was stuck there for a second.
Okay, so what do you see now?
I just still see the what's the challenge.
I see your cursor, though.
Yeah, we see your cursor. It's on the screen.
Okay, so presenter mode. I'm in full screen, but that's not right.
So are you working off of more than one screen?
I have just the one screen.
Okay. Not sure why. Maybe stop sharing your screen with us over the call, and then maybe try resharing.
Or you could actually stop sharing so that we could see your wonderful face, because if we can have a conversation as you're just going through your screens, that might be the next best thing.
Yep.
Okay, let me get... Okay, what do you see now?
Now we can see you.
Okay. All right.
Now we can see you. Hey, listen, just use your PowerPoint slides as your guide through the discussion, and we'll fill in wherever we can.
Okay, let me pull up my PowerPoint and try to pull the window down somewhere. Okay. I apologize. One of the things that people may not know about me is that I am not a great technological wizard. I always figure if I can do this, anybody can do this. So that's kind of how my world is. I started
Yeah,
Yeah,
here's the
go
deal.
ahead.
Here's the deal, Chris. I mean, your depth and breadth of knowledge and understanding when it comes to the wonderful world of real estate makes up for any technological inabilities that might, surface from time to time. And I can tell you what it does. The more you fumble with a PowerPoint on a screen, the more hope you give to the folks that are out there, because they're going, wow, this guy, has owned as many as 300 single-family homes at a time. He runs a massive management company in the Midwest. He's done all these deals, has all these creative acquisition strategies. I think right now they're going, wow, I got to listen to this guy. He's the master of masters.
He's giving me hope.
It's always me up there and all these good-looking, tall other instructors, and I think that I'm there as this poster child for, if that guy can do it, yeah, I can do it too. So in the end, I was doing real estate before the internet was the internet. So everybody thinks they have to be able to go to the courthouse, they have to be able to do things virtually, like going to the courthouse virtually, or they have to be able to find everything online. That's not necessarily true. Now, we've got some great tools for people to use. Bob, you have created these tools and these software connections with people and services that people can use that just automate a lot of things. But there's still people in the world who want to do this. Number one, they want to be able to understand what the machine is doing. They want to be able to go and they want to do it themselves. They want to be able to do it themselves. They want to make the sausage, whatever. The other thing is there are people who know that it takes time for everything to get into the system. Beat that time, then they might have an edge. And so that's one of the reasons that I teach my class, is so people might be able to beat that time. One of the things I like to look at is if I'm talking about a lead. So I was in Chicago last month, and we were talking about a lead. I was driving up to Chicago on Friday. I stopped at Joliet and I went to the courthouse and I pulled out 4 potential leads, and we drove by and took some pictures, and I was able to talk about those that Saturday during the intensive. And none of those had been into any software, any website that anybody was aware of, including anything that we have access to. So I like being able to beat the market. That's so if I can beat people to real estate that's for sale, but nobody knows is for sale. That's my goal. And so, I started with the idea that there's to sell real estate. It's price, it's condition, it's marketing. We need to be able to beat the market because the seller knows they can sell it through an auctioneer, a realtor, or they can sell it themselves. They don't know that an investor might buy it, but they don't know that investor. So we need to send them a letter or make a phone call or touch them in some way before they make their decision on whether to market it with a realtor or for sale by owner, or how they're going to market it. So if somebody is in foreclosure, or if they've had a relative who's passed away, or if they tired of that rental house that they've been by because their tenant's not paying them or whatever, they're thinking, okay, I'm interested in selling this. I'm going to need to sell this. Should I hire a realtor? If so, who? Should I hire an auctioneer? It's at that it's at that moment that our letter should arrive on their desk, in their mailbox, before they've made that decision. And that's what I teach in the class. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. How do we do that? How do we be there when the seller is trying to make a decision on how they're going to market the property? The first thing that we have to do is we have to identify a challenge. There has to be some kind of a challenge. If there's no challenge, they don't need us. So what do I mean by a challenge? In life, people have challenges. We just do. Some of those challenges lead to a situation where the sale of a house or the transition of a house might assist them in transitioning out of their challenge. It might help them transition through their challenge. For example, if they're in foreclosure, that's a challenge. The sale of the house may help them go through that challenge, get through that challenge with their dignity. If their loved one pass away and their loved one owns a home, well, they don't want their loved one's home to get into disrepair. They need to sell it. They need to liquidate the assets so they can distribute the money to the heirs. If they're a landlord, and they need to sell that house because they don't want to deal with tenants anymore. So these are challenges that people face. People may be going through divorce. That's a challenge. Maybe the sale of the house will help them move through that situation. There's all kinds of challenges out there that people face. Bankruptcy. Sometimes the trustee might identify the sale of the house as a way to move them out of this, this bankruptcy trap. So the first thing we have to understand is we do not create the challenge. Real estate investors do not create the challenge. We have nothing to do with their challenge. We did not cause them to consider divorce. We did not cause grandma to die. We did not cause them to not be able to pay their mortgage because they lost their job or whatever. The real estate investor had nothing to do with the challenge. We did not cause that challenge. So real estate investors get a black eye a lot out there. Our society tends to think of us as these social leeches going around taking advantage of people in bad situations. And no, we didn't have anything to do with that bad situation. We didn't create it. We identified that people have a challenging situation and we may have a solution that appeals to them. They might not be interested in our potential solution. But all we want to do is identify ourselves as a potential choice when they are trying to decide whether I'm going to sell with a realtor, whether I'm going to sell it through an auctioneer, whether I'm going to spend my time and effort marketing it myself, or maybe this real estate investor can streamline all of this and help me through this challenge. So, number one, we don't cause the challenge. Number two, we have to identify somebody who owns a challenge and owns real estate. That's an important distinction. A lot of people have challenges, but they don't own real estate. So, somebody might be my tenants may be going through a divorce, but that I can't really help them through that because there's no skill set that I can bring that would help them. So if somebody has a challenge and they own real estate, now we can be of assistance. Potentially. The best way to do that, the question then becomes, how do I find these people with challenging situations? It's got to be better than just word of mouth. So how can I systematically find people in challenging situations? And so if I were to ask, and Bob, Jay, if I were to ask you, if I have an insurance product, I'm an insurance salesman, I have an insurance product that is designed for people who drive badly, how would I be able to market directly to all the people who drive badly? How would I find those people?
I would go to the public records and find out who's been ticketed recently for bad behavior.
Exactly. You would go to traffic court and find all of the people who drive badly, because the phone book doesn't help you, because you have people who may not drive, who do drive, who drive safely. It's too broad. We have to identify those people who have challenges with driving. That's what we do as a real estate investor as well. We identify those people who have challenges and who own real estate. So we go to the courthouse. If we want to find people who have challenges in paying their mortgage, then we go to foreclosure court. If we want to find people who have challenges paying their bills, we could go to bankruptcy court. That's a federal court system. If we want to find people who have challenges with their marriage and they may own real estate, we can go to divorce court. If we want to find people who have challenges in the challenge is that somebody has passed away or somebody's gone to the nursing home or whatever, and they still own a house. What are they going to do with that house? If we want to find that challenge, we go to probate court. And if we want to find a disgruntled landlord, somebody who's tired of the hassles with rental property, or maybe they're trying to retire, we want to go to eviction court. So why is court so important? Well, what's happened is our tax dollars are paying people to collect information related to the challenge. So it is public information. We as the public have paid our taxes to collect this information. And certain documents need to be filed in court. And basically what people are doing is they're filing the idea that, hey, we have this challenge we need to work through, and we need court supervision to work through this challenge. So once we identify people who own a challenge, we identify, do they own real estate? We can do that through the assessor's office or whatever. Do those people own real estate? If they own real estate, am I interested in that real estate? And who do I talk to? Who is having that challenge? Once we identify those people in court, then we can approach them and be a potential solution to that challenge. One of the ways that I like to think about it is, I'm not going in as some kind of a social pariah and asking, who can I take advantage of? If we're thinking in that way, then we're going to lose. We have to be thinking in terms of who needs some help. And if we identify the people who need some help, they may or may not want help from us, but they do need help. That's why they're in court. If they weren't in court, if they didn't need help, they wouldn't be in court. So they need help. And so if we identify the people in court who own real estate, then we can send them a letter. I used to make phone calls, but nowadays that's something that's not smiled on. So we send letters. And if we send a letter and that letter approaches them, it gets into their mailbox at the time when they're trying to identify whether they want to hire the realtor, whether they want to hire the auctioneer. You see, they know there are costs with selling with a realtor. They know there are costs selling with the auctioneer. The challenge is that real estate investors, again, what we said earlier, we are seen as a little bit higher on the totem pole than used car salesmen, I think. So whether that's earned or not, it is one of those cultural things. We learn it from the point when we're children. When Scooby-Doo unmasks the bad guy, it's always a real estate guy. So we just learn this from youth that real estate people are sneaky and suspicious. And so when we approach those people in challenging situations, we have to understand, they have challenging situations. We also have to understand we did not cause the challenge. We are there to assist. We are there to help. Now, we're not there to help them directly with their challenge. Our offer has to be designed in a way that helps them move through their challenge. And if they don't identify this offer as helping them through their challenge, they're going to say no to our offer. We're going to get more no's than yeses, and that's good. That's a good thing. If we get more yeses than no's, we're paying too much for real estate. So one of the things I like to do is if I get a conversation, so if I mail a letter, they respond to the letter, and they call, and they say, I understand that you are interested in buying this house. I want to meet them at the property. If I meet them at the property, to listen more than I talk, and listen for what they identify as their challenge. Because what I think is their challenge may not be what they perceive as their challenge. Because our offer has to address their perception of their challenge, not just what we think is their challenge. So we might think that the divorce is their challenge, but they might identify not the spouse, they might identify the economy as their challenge, or something else. You know, we might identify the fact that the loved one passed is their challenge. No, that may not be their challenge. Their challenge may be that their deadbeat brother wants all this money and they got to get rid of the house in order to get the money. So we need to listen to what their challenge is, what their perception of the challenge is, and our offer is going to address those perceptions of the challenge. So one of the things I also like to do is I like to be very transparent in showing the people my offer, my numbers. So I'll look at the house, I'll spend a couple hours listening to their needs, listening to their stories, really is what I'm listening for. And I'm doing a little bit of analysis on the house. And again, I have enough experience to know what repairs are going to cost. If you are not in that situation, you may need to bring a friend or somebody who can look at the house. One of the most powerful things that I've seen is where a couple of investors will go together, maybe a team, maybe a husband and wife, but people will go together, and one person will be very communicative with the seller, and they will be listening, and they'll be they'll be using their people skills and some of those negotiation skills that Bob teaches. But and then that other person can be looking at the nuts and bolts of the house. They can be looking at where the roof has stained, or the ceiling is stained from a roof leak, or whether they can be looking around and being more purposeful in getting the analysis of the house. And so you can kind of kill two birds with one stone if you have two people there. Also, just showing up alone is a little more dangerous, especially in certain neighborhoods and among certain areas. So it's always good to have a couple of people there. And so what I do is then offer to meet them in the next 30, 40, 50 minutes at a Starbucks, someplace where you can get internet service. And at that point, you can throw your numbers into some software, and Renatus has some software that will help with that. And those numbers can assist you in coming up with your challenge or with your offer. So one of the things I like to do is I like to put the computer there on the table at Starbucks, and we can talk and we can say, look, I think, here's some comparables. I think we can sell it for this amount of money. And a lot of times they will push back and say, oh no, it's worth a whole lot more than that. Okay. These are the comparables I'm working with. I'm looking at lower end comparables. I'm not looking at the high end comparables, and these are just as comparable. And I don't want to argue with them about things, but we really need them to either buy into it, or it's just I just bought them a cup of coffee and we're just going to go on. Because if they're insisting that it's worth $50,000 more than what I believe it's worth, this is just going to go nowhere. And they're going to need to hire their realtor or whatever. So once we kind of come up with an idea of the value, our after repair value, our ARV, then I want to show them these are my costs when I buy it. So it's going to cost me some title work fees. It's going to cost me some recording fees. It's going to cost me. The biggest expense in buying tends to be associated with getting the money, getting the funding. So do I need to pay points? Do I have to pay a bank? Do I have to pay marketing costs? All of these things. So I say, okay, these are my costs when I buy it. And then I want to show them the cost when I sell it. So when I sell it, I'm going to have to pay a real estate commission, 6%. I'm going to have to pay again, some title work, some recording costs. I'm going to have to pay for maybe some attorney fees and other things. And all of that should be listed in your software. Then I'm going to tell them, I'm going to have to repair it as well. So there are going to be some costs with the repair. I may have to, if it's a really nice house, I may have to do fewer repairs. If it's a house that's a little bit dated but is not in disrepair, I'll probably have to paint it, change floor coverings, maybe some light fixtures, maybe some plumbing fixtures. And there are costs with that. And you shouldn't be the source for those costs. If you have to, you can go to HomeDepot.com or whatever. Find some third party to demonstrate the costs. Now, again, the software can help you with that. However, I want to make sure that there's not a perception that you created the software that tells the costs. You really needs to be a third party coming in with the cost, because we can both complain. Again, it's the dynamic is that you, the investor, and the seller are working together to solve the challenge. So if you're coming in with all of the expertise, you can't about the cost of carpeting. You can't complain. And it can be good to commiserate with the cost of these things. And then there's carrying costs. I want to tell them, okay, so if it takes me a month to fix it, and if it's going to be pending for a month, I may own this for as many as 3 months, maybe 4 months. So I'm going to have 3 mortgage payments. I'm going to have taxes. I'm going to have insurance. I'm going to have these carrying costs. And then I asked them, and here's kind of the secret sauce. I asked them, and how much do you think I should make on this? And if they say something, then usually I buy that property. So if they say, yeah, you can make $10,000, I say, well, shouldn't I make more than the realtor? I mean, the whole thing is, if they allow me to make a profit, if they think, okay, yeah, it's fair that you make a profit, then we are of one mind at that point, and we can come to a conclusion. We can come to a deal. And so that's why I want to be transparent and show them my numbers. I think it's very important. Sometimes the seller is stuck on like a price, and that's where some of the Renatus training, like Jeff Armstrong's classes, things like that, can come in. But every variable can be adjusted. So, for example, if I have to hit a higher price, let's say I have to pay more than it's worth, I can do that so long as my interest rate is lower than what is typical. So I can pay way too much money if my interest rate is 1%. And there are 5 variables that deal with financing. And if we adjust one, if we have to deal with one, if one is the challenge, then we can adjust another one to get our price right, or to get our ultimate payment right. I mean, the question is, how can car dealers offer 0% financing? Well, it's because they've inflated the price. Yeah, so you can adjust variables. One of the things that I also want to do is offer the possibility that, if you want more money, we can make payments. Now, that doesn't work so well with foreclosure because the bank wants to be paid. They don't like creative acquisitions. It doesn't work real well in probate because the estate wants to close. They want to distribute assets. But landlords, again, their initial goal was to get monthly cash flow, to get monthly payments. And now you can offer them monthly payments without hassle of tenants. So that's why I like disgruntled landlords. The other reason I like disgruntled landlords and the eviction court case filings is In foreclosure, there's a notice of default that's published in the newspaper. In probate, there's a notice to creditors that's published in the newspaper. In eviction court, there's no notice published ever. There's nothing in writing relative to that piece of real estate that may be for sale, relative to somebody having a challenge. So I like finding less information public, dealing with people with challenges, so that we are the only ones who know these people are experiencing challenges. And so we can be the only ones in there who can help them through that, or the only ones that they know, the only ones that have approached them. So we can make creative acquisition offers. We can offer to buy it subject to their mortgage. We can buy it on a contract for deed. We can buy it with seller financing of various structures. And there's all kinds of ways to do that creatively. I know I'm getting to a point where one of these Bob knows is I can talk all day long, but I do want to leave some time for some questions. And so, Bob, this might be a good time to see if people have some questions.
Well, you know what? I think it absolutely would. And Chris, I always appreciate your perspective, because you have kind of a unique way of going about it. You like to find deals that nobody out there even know exist. You've talked about that today, going by the courthouse in Joliet and just doing a quick little research there in the index files at the county records office, and then using that as a teaching tool when you went to talk to our group in Chicago. I loved that. I know you do an awful lot with probate, where you go in and you actually do some research, because those are deals, once again, that nobody even know are for sale. As a matter of fact, many times the individuals that are going through probate don't even know that they're for sale. I'd love for you to expand on that just a little bit, so that you can help individuals understand that there are so many different ways to create a creative acquisition where you can get a smoking great deal on a property, which means you're literally purchasing equity and putting yourself in a better position.
Sure. So, for example, when I was driving through Joliet, we'll just use that as an example. I needed an illustration for Chicago. I didn't want to go. I would literally have to pay. I've done it before. I'd literally have to pay $24 to park downtown in Chicago. I have to go up to I think it's either the 9th or the 11th floor of the Cook County Courthouse, and I mean it's a fiasco. So I'm from East Central Illinois. It's about a 3-hour drive. I was driving up, and I was going through Joliet. In Will County, and I stopped at their courthouse. I had literally 30 minutes because my parking was 30 minutes only. So I had to rush in there. I said, "Where's the public access computer?" I kind of pride myself in being able to go to any county in the United States and finding real estate that's for sale that nobody knows is for sale. And so I went to 2 different indexing systems. I went to the probate index, and I went to the eviction index. And I was just looking for probate properties where somebody had passed away, the spouse had predeceased, nobody's living in the house. When nobody's living in the house, it's going to sell. There are very few scenarios where that won't sell. However, just because they filed probate 8 days ago, or 3 days ago, or in the case of Joliet, the day before, that doesn't mean that in their mind they're thinking about marketing a house. They're thinking about, how am I going to pay grandma's hospital bill with grandma's money, because grandma's money is in grandma's account and I'm not a signer on that account. I need the court to appoint me the representative so I can pay the bills. They may not even be thinking. Now, in the back of their mind, they know they need to sell the house, but that's not where they're at right now. But if I can enter that conversation before they decide I need to hire a realtor to sell the house, if I can enter their world when they're still making those decisions on how they're going to deal with this, I see that as an advantage. The disgruntled landlord. So in many counties, there is a time where you file, and during that time, somebody's still in the house. There's still a lot of emotional pain or financial pain that's going on when that landlord is in court. If I can come in and say, hey, how would you like to sell your house? Now, if it's somebody like me and they have 200, 300 rental properties, sell a house because they have to evict a tenant, they got to evict 2 or 3 every month. That's not but if it's mom and pop and they watch some HGTV show and that guru said, hey, look, this is easy to do, and they did it in 30 minutes, and the the landlord thinks, oh, I could have done it in 20, nobody knows what they don't know, and so they got involved with a situation. They rented to people for the wrong reason, and now they're in a challenging situation. So now they're faced with the idea that they got to spend the time in court. They're going to get the house back. It's not going to be ready to rent again. They're going to have to spend time, money, effort getting it ready to rent again, or maybe this investor can just give me money every month for the next 30 years, and I don't have to touch it. I don't have to do anything else, and I can give them more money over those 20 years than they would ever get if they sold it for all cash. So I love that conversation with the disgruntled landlords. That's how I bought most of my properties.
Well, and I love it too, because here's what happens. You mentioned earlier that sometimes you have a conversation with individuals and they think their house is worth a lot more. And there's an old adage in real estate that, listen, if you can't get your price, then get your terms. And if you can't get your terms, get your price. And that's really what you've described here. Now, Jay, I know that you, my friend, have got a number of questions for Chris. And
I do.
I want to turn to you before we run out of time here.
Well, I'm really curious, and Aubrey asked this question as well. When it comes to dealing with people that you found in the court records, do you find that it's better to reach out with handwritten letters, or do you go the route of sending like one of those printed postcards? I'm not as aggressive in finding deals or in searching for deals anymore, but whenever I do, it's always a handwritten letter. It's very short. In fact, in my class, I even use the letter. I show the letter that I write. It's real simple. I understand that there's a house for sale at this address. I understand that you're the person to talk to about it. If it's for sale, please call me at this phone number. I'm hoping we can each save a real estate commission. And one of the interesting things is I have a student, Ulysses, in Atlanta area, who used that very letter and got houses. I have a student in Kansas. I have a number of students who use, and there's nothing magic about that language. In fact, I would coach people to use the language that you're comfortable with using. But writing a note, I think the key is, if you're going to put it on stationery, use the same stationery over and over, because they're going to respond to your first letter. They might respond to your 4th letter or your 5th letter, but they need to know it's the same person. So if you use, flowery, continue to use that color flowery stationery. If you use business letterhead, use the same business letterhead every time. And that way you're not a different person, that you're the same person continually interested. That, I think that's more important than, I don't like postcards because they seem kind of impersonal. It's like I get, here's a postcard I got today for continuing ed in real estate. So I mean, I get a lot of that stuff. So I like handwritten. Right on. I've got 2 questions that I'm gonna try to combine down into one. So Andrew asks if probate deals still really work in today's market, and then Veronica asks, what does that process even really look like? So I was hoping that you could maybe address both in one response.
Sure. Yeah, probate deals work. The challenge is most people look at probate like it's a shotgun. What you really need to do is find a house that the only heir, the representative, may be out of town or maybe elderly. So it's really fine-tuning the approach. And probate is a cash intensive business. So if you need to make a creative offer because you can't get bank financing, probate may not be the right source. But yeah, what you do, it's just a 5-step process. You find a property. I'm sorry. You find a person who's passed away, or maybe gone to the nursing home. It's easier to find a person who passed away. So you ask 5 questions and answer those 5 questions. Who died? So you find a file in the courthouse of somebody who's passed away. Okay, so do they own real estate? So sometimes that's in the petition for probate. Sometimes that's not in the petition for probate. It depends on the form they use or the state that you're in. You can always go to the courthouse, the county assessor's office, to find out if that person owns real estate. In California, you can't search by owner name anymore since 2008 because of stalking laws and stuff. But there are ways to find through title companies whether that person owns real estate. A lot of times that person may own real estate in their living trust if they've listened to attorneys like we have at Renatus, right? So the question is, do they own real estate? So who died? Do they own real estate? Am I interested in the real estate? Is it in a neighborhood I want? Is it in a price range I want? Is it in the hood? Whatever. Am I interested in it? The 4th question is, who do I talk to about it? So I'm talking to the representative, the personal representative. If that personal representative says, I'm not in the area, I need you to talk to this attorney, or I need you to talk to somebody else, then you deal with that person. And then the 5th question is, how do I find that person to talk to? And most of the information is in that petition, and the petition is conceptually the first document filed, though these days with electronic filing, you have a lot of documents filed at the same time. But most of that information is in the petition.
Awesome. I know that my wife and I had opportunity one time as we were going to the courthouse. We found somebody that was in the foreclosure process and ended up actually helping them to start and work through the probate process as well. Have you found that a lot of deals have multifacets like that, where you may start in a foreclosure type situation and then realize that there's more elements to it than just foreclosure?
Yeah, in fact, what's really fascinating is people who learn to look for challenges tend to quantify those challenges. So they might have a list of people in foreclosure, and then you compare that to a list of people who've not paid their real estate taxes, which is another challenge, tax court. So if you find somebody in foreclosure and who haven't paid their real estate taxes, now you have a more pressing challenge. You have multiple challenges. Sometimes the person in foreclosure and who haven't paid their taxes may be in divorce court. Sometimes somebody's in probate following divorce court. That's because she killed him. No, but
that went dark fast.
Yeah, that took a turn I didn't see coming.
But yeah, I mean, challenges tend to promote more challenges. And when we can identify those challenges and come in as a resource, again, we're not saying, oh, good, people are having challenging, people are in trouble, their fires are everywhere. That's not what we're about. We're about, okay, who really needs help? Because I have resources I can bring to this. I have a creative mind I can bring to this. And I'm excited when I can help somebody get through that. The more challenges, the better. I mean, not the better, but the more exciting it is. Now, also the more challenges, the more time crunch there is too. So I like getting in early. I like talking to people, having time. Challenges tend to relate to time crunch.
Gotcha. So I don't know if
that answered the question.
I love it, and you really did. You expounded on the fact that when you seek after one challenge, you're going to run into more often, and the more challenges there are, the more good that you can do, and the more relief you can offer. And I really appreciate that. We're running out of time right now. I know Bob's got some announcements that he still needs to go through. Chris, over the course of the next week, would you be willing to come back to this video, and anybody else who has comments or questions, would you be willing to respond to those?
Absolutely. I'd love that. I would enjoy that very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much then. So Bob, take it away then.
Hey, and we appreciate that, Chris, man. It's great to have you out here with us, my friend. You're just an absolute wealth of knowledge, and we always enjoy the time. And I can't wait to see you at the national conference, which we've got coming up. And boy, is that going to be a barn burner. We're going to have ourselves an incredible time. Listen, Jay started things out and said, hey, if you know what? If you like Renatus InvestEdge, well then come back and make sure you're getting notifications to come back. How do you do that? All you got to do is just share, like, and subscribe. Make sure that you're in the know, so every time we now have a new episode to release, you are there and are able to enjoy it and get the benefits from it. Now, we also find that individuals kind of view a lot of the information that we share and they go, listen, I'm a real estate investor. I need to get fine-tuned. I need to get polished up on a few different strategies so that I can go out there and capitalize on more deals. If that's you, great. You need some help? We'd be happy to assist you. We've got a link on the screen as well as a QR code. You want to schedule a free 15-minute real estate conversation with one of our consultants, man, then give us a shout. We'd be thrilled to be able to spend a little bit of time with you. Maybe you're a brand new individual and you're going, man, this sounds great. I know there's money to be made in real estate, but I'm not really sure how it's made. That's what we're here for. That's the resource that we offer. Again, go in, schedule a little time with one of our consultants, and let's see what we can do to help you in your real estate business. Now, along with that, we got a lot of different things that are happening for the Renatus community. We want to bring everybody up to speed on some things. We're constantly kicking out, award-winning workbooks with all of our curriculum and our materials, and we just wanted to make sure everybody knows that in your back office, we've got the new Velocity Banking workbook that's available for you. Yeah, that's a fantastic tool. In addition to that, we've got our national conference that's coming up. We call it the E3 Summit. The E3 Summit stands for Educate, Equip, Engage, which is what we're going to spend those 3 days outlining for individuals. Now listen, if you're a part of the community, you're one of our ICMs, and that's an independent contracted marketer because we work a little bit differently with our program. The price is $447 to attend the 3 days as well as the banquet. But
that
here's
so
what we're
worth
doing.
It. So worth it.
Absolutely, man. But the nice thing about it, Jay, is that we're extending an opportunity for individuals who are just checking us out for the first time to come to the national conference and spend those 3 days with us, and it's only $95.
That's a severe discount. That's crazy.
That includes the banquet.
Oh man, that doesn't even cover the hard cost of having somebody there.
No, and we've got free giveaves, we've got workbooks, T-shirts, all sorts of different things that they get for that as well. Now listen, if somebody just wants to do the basic ticket price, you don't even want to hang out with us for dinner, it's $30, but we want to make this available to individuals so that they can attend live and in person and network with literally hundreds of real estate investors from all over the country. That's how significant this is. We've got 23 amazing instructors that are going to be there at this national conference. It is 3 days of jam-packed information that are there to help assist each and every one of you. Just to highlight a few of the educators at the national conference, Patrick Munson. He is an absolute expert when it comes to the subject of taxation and helping you understand how to minimize your greatest expense in life, which is taxes. We've got Mr. Scott Rowe that's going to be there, one of our leaders on the ICM and the marketing side of things. He's going to show you something that most folks have never even thought of, and that is three-dimensional real estate. It's going to blow your mind. Mr. Randall Cloud's going to be there. Here's an individual who is immersed in the short-term rental business as well as a fantastic resource when it comes to the velocity banking strategies. He's going to be sharing some of his words of wisdom. Mr. Michael Huggins is going to be doing the same thing. He's got a diverse investing experience, all sorts of great information, and he's going to help you to really leverage a lot of the wealth strategies that you need to create long-term financial success. Mr. Richard Stock going to do the same thing. I'm so excited to be able to have him there and to share, his investor and legacy building programs and how you can capitalize on that. Mr. Woody Woodward, the creator of the Drive selling system. See, in real estate, you've got to know how to basically communicate with individuals, how to effectively communicate with them. Drive is a big part of that component, and Woody's going to show you how it's done. That'll cut your learning curve, and it'll help accelerate your success. So many things are going on. The national conference is incredibly well attended by investors from literally the islands of Hawaii clear to, the West Coast, East Coast, and everywhere in between. And we can't wait to have you there. We also, at our awards banquets, we celebrate the success of our people in a big, big way. It's It's all about getting educated, then getting equipped, so you can go out and really engage in what you've learned, so you can apply the strategies that you've been shared. And the National Conference is, of course, the place to do that, man. It's going to be a blast. Now, here's a special offer for our ICMs out there, because we market a little bit differently in Renatus. We don't do things through billboards and through paid ads and through all the other things that, a lot of times will get folks going. We don't send out massive email blasts. What we do is we work through students who have chosen to become affiliates with us, and then they share their experience with others. And when those individuals get involved, well, we pay them for helping us to enroll students. So here's what we've done. After speaking with our leadership inside of Renatus, we've decided to do something different this year, which is this. If somebody is in Utah along the Wasatch Front, they're coming to the National Conference, they're going to be there in person, and they're a guest of an ICM, well then, they're going to either pay the $95 or the $30, depending on whether or not they're going to get the all-access pass or the basic pass. But if they are outside of the Utah market, if you're an ICM, it's $447 for the ticket, and then what you get to enjoy is this. You can invite as many guests as you would like that will be able to attend virtually for free. For free. Not for $95, not for $30, but for free. We want to pack the house, and we want to help people really see what we've got and why this is so impressive. That's a big deal.
So I want to make sure that was a mic drop moment, and you actually skipped ahead in your slides.
Yes, I did skip ahead.
You got
just
a little
bit
excited
there.
there, which I so appreciate.
I did get a little ahead.
I was going to do like this whole drum roll thing on you.
There should have been a drum roll thing, and there really should have, because the National Conference is going to be streamed for those individuals that are outside of the market. Now, listen, if you've already bought a ticket and you're coming to the National, we want you in the seats because it's going to be an incredible experience. But if you're an ICM, you're not yet registered, you want to really take advantage of this thing, man, get your ticket so you can attend virtually online with us, and then you'll have the opportunity as well to invite as many guests as you would like and to give them a link. And Jay, why don't you share a little bit about that link process?
This is so incredible. We were not going to stream this national conference. No how, no way. Things obviously have shifted in the market just a little bit this year. You may be aware of some of the things that have gone on, some of the shakeups, and we decided we are going to meet people where they are. We're going to help them out. So we are going to stream. Now, as an ICM, if you want access to the stream, you got to pay for a full price ticket, the $447. And then what we're going to do is we're going to email you within one business day. We will email you a link that is customized to you, and you can register all of your guests anywhere in the nation. We're blacking out Utah, but everywhere else across the nation, you can register your guests through that link, and they are going to receive a complimentary access. They're going to receive a link that'll bring them into that Renatus broadcast. So the link you're seeing on the screen, that's how you're going to get your full price ticket. And then tonight, we are going to send out the very first email. So if you are an ICM registered for the National Conference tonight, you're going to receive an email that is going to have a personalized link in it that will enable you to share that link and register all of your guests at no additional cost to the National Conference to be able to view it in a broadcast fashion.
Yep, absolutely. And here's the other nice thing too, is that if you have guests at the National Conference, live in person at the National Conference, right? Every single guest that you have at the National, well, we're going to basically take a little ticket, we're going to put it in a lottery, and then we're going to draw from that lottery. And those individuals who, win that lottery, and I think we'll probably have 5 or 6 of them. We'll see how that kind of maps out. Yes. They're going to get to go to a private reception with myself, some of our instructors, and our PAC members on Saturday night after the National Conference at my private home.
And we are going to shuttle them up in limousines from the Davis Conference Center right as soon as we conclude. We're going to shuttle everyone up to Bob's personal residence, and this is going to be one of the most exclusive networking events we've ever hosted.
Oh, I absolutely believe that. It's going to be phenomenal. And I'll tell you the other cool thing about it, too. Because we've never done anything, like this at my Bountiful House before, this is going to be a first opportunity for you to really experience not just the networking aspect of it, but some tremendous Q&A.
Oh, yeah.
With myself, Mr. Woody Woodward, and Mr. Jay Stark. as we share with you some of the things that we've learned over the years so that we can help to accelerate your success. So you want to make sure you get yourself registered. You do not want to miss this event. It's going to be phenomenal. 23 speakers, 2 of the best keynote speakers in the business. I mean, Dan Clark's going to be there. He's a Hall of Fame speaker. We're going to have Ken Griffin going to be there, and
Jeff Griffin.
Jeff Griffin. Why do I say Ken? It was because I saw him playing baseball one time. Ken Griffey Jr. Man, I saw him knock it out of the park with a grand slam and win the thing. I don't know why I always do that. Jeff Griffin's going to be there.
It would be awesome if we got Ken Griffey as well.
He's not going to be there, but Jeff Griffin's going to be there.
He wouldn't speak as good as Jeff Griffin does.
No, he will not, and he's got a powerful story that's going to absolutely blow your mind, so you want to be there. It's going to be such a great event. You don't want to miss it. So get yourself registered, get your people registered, get your guests registered. Let's have ourselves the most successful Renatus National Conference we've ever had, because we truly believe that we can change people's lives, but for us to do that, they actually have to know what we're all about and make a decision for change. That can happen at the National Conference, because that's where the business goes from your head to your heart.
Well, thanks so much for being with us. This has been another phenomenal InvestEdge. I love doing these with you. I got to say it one time for me and everybody at home. Renatus rocks.
Buckle up.
Can you feel it? Surging through your veins now. Coming in clutch, punch it, get it, never quit it. It's time to shift.